divorced. I like long walks on the beach with my therapist. So Winnipeg, I'm from Winnipeg, and it's cold. It's really cold in Winnipeg, right? And I think I may have gotten married for the wrong reasons. You know, some girls, they get married for money, and some girls for stability. I got married for body heat, okay? Yeah, you think it's cold here? This is nothing compared to the prairies. You see a guy here with, you know, a little belly fat, a little back hair, and you're like, oh. You see the same guy out west, and you're like, fuck yeah, insulation. You want to lock that down. I married a 300-pounder. It was like winning the jackpot. So we moved to Montreal, and then I was like, fuck, it's not that cold here. What do I do? So we got a divorce, which worked out fine until the Arctic freeze this week, and then I'm like, reconciliation. I recently decided to get back into the dating scene, but I haven't been really single since I was 17, so I don't even know if the same pickup lines I used in high school still apply. Hey, do you want a blowjob under the bleachers? Might lose something at 31, I'm not sure. Are you kidding? That one works every time. Gets me in trouble with parents, though. So I went on my first date as a divorcee last week. Well, sort of. The guy stood me up. Does that still count? Yeah, I don't know. Anybody here ever been stood up? You know? Yeah. You, sir? You seem like you may have had a few no-shows. Oh, yeah. Well, I hadn't. In fact, I paid a lot of money to look like this to ensure that I never get stood up. These? Not real $70 push-up bra. This hair? It's from India. Okay? I didn't even know they had blondes in India. Ugly people get stood up is what I thought until I got stood up. I'm not bitter, though. I think I'm pretty well over it. So here's how it happens. I meet this guy the old-fashioned way on Facebook. And he poked me. It used to be you had to wait 3 dates before getting poked. Now it happens before you get his phone number, right? So we go back and forth, and he says we should meet. But he doesn't actually say it, he texts it. Because phone calls do not exist in modern dating. I had no idea, right? A phone call is almost more intimate than sex at this point. You can text me that you want a 50 Shades of Grey my ass. You know, whips, paddles, red room of paint. I'll look down and go, he's sweet. But if I look down and see incoming call, instant panic. Like I drop the phone, I go to my girlfriend, what's he doing? Okay? He needs to slow down. This is too much. So he texts, and I pick Thursday. He says he's free all day on Thursday, which makes me think he might be unemployed, because who's free all day on Thursday? That's like my busiest day of the week, right? So on Thursday noon, he texts, he says, I'm excited for a date. I text back, me too, smiley face, wink, like I'm just hitting all the buttons. I have no idea what I'm doing, right? 8 o'clock, I go home and I tidy up the place and I groom, whatever you're supposed to do for a date. We'll get to that. At 8 o'clock, he texts, he says, leaving now, see you soon. Now to me, see you soon means I'll see ya soon, right? That's the last I heard from this guy. You know what that means? He got a better offer sometime between leaving his house at 8 and my place 12 minutes later. That is a pretty small window of opportunity for something better to come along, right? But the worst part wasn't even the fact that I got ditched on the way for either like the gas station attendant or someone at the ATM machine. The worst part? I cleaned my toilet for this fucker. Okay? Yeah. I wasn't assuming anything. We were just going for a drink, but just in case, I didn't want his first impression of me, besides the one he was going to get when I invited him in on the first date, to be that I was a slob. So I went out and I bought a toilet brush for this guy. And I'm sitting there in my own spineless misery, thinking of possible scenarios that could make me feel better, right, for getting stood up. The only one I can come up with, he better be dead. Yeah. But then you start to think, you're all like, can you clean someone? You're like, what if he is dead? You get all nostalgic and weird the way you do. When people you don't really know die, and you're like, God, he was a good guy. You have all those text message memories together from the last week. Start thinking of what you're going to tell your friends and family. You know, you didn't know anything about him, but it was love at first poke. And you snap out of it, delete him on Facebook, and head down to the local bleachers, because if it worked in high school, it can work again. Yeah. Anybody else newly single here? Okay. Born again slut, third row. Good. Born again slut. There's 3 things you have to know when you start dating again in your 30s, okay? 3 things you have to worry about. STDs, unwanted pregnancy, and getting your one-night stand to brush his teeth. Yeah. This guy sleeps over. I know, you don't even think about that, right? I didn't, and then I did. Because this guy sleeps over recently. We'll call him the fireman. 1, to keep things simple. 2, because I can't remember his name. I think it was Tom, it might have been Joe, or it could have been Steve. It's Tom Joe Steve. And so he's at my place, and he's saying really cute things like, I'm married. So we do it. And then I pass out, which is, pretty standard for me after a night of hard drinking. It was Tuesday. So I wake up the next morning, and there's this beautiful fireman lying naked beside me, right? And I'm thinking, why is he still here? And he wakes up, and he wants to go again. So he reaches over for a kiss. And I guess something must have like crawled into his mouth and died overnight. Like, I'm not sure if a possum got in there or what, but it wasn't good. So I get up and I go crack open the spare toothbrush, right? And I come over and I'm trying to be all cutesy with it, like, hey, big boy, here comes the train. You know, like he's 5. He wasn't. He was at least 18. And he brushes his teeth, and then we go again, and then he leaves, because eventually they help me sleep me. So that is where the problem comes in. So I go to the bathroom. That's where I keep my morning after pill, and I see this toothbrush lying there mocking me, right? What do I do with it? It's been used once. There's a chance it could sleep over again, but there's a chance someone else could sleep over first, right? Do I throw it out? That's a $4 toothbrush. I can't just keep handing these things out every time someone sleeps over. The rate I'm going, I'll be bankrupt. Do I keep it? Do I like throw it in a drawer at this point? Just start labeling them? You know, fireman. Next time he comes over, he opens it up. Sees like this is 9th from the right. That doesn't look good. Between surgeon and architect, like. Are we kidding? More like between pizza delivery guy and guy who still lives in his parents' basement. Whatever. That'd be a good way to keep track. I have to start buying his bulk at this point. The other thing about being single for the first time in a decade is there are grooming rituals now. Barbaric grooming rituals. Okay? Apparently men don't want women to look like women, they want us to look like we're 9. Yeah. My girlfriend says to me recently, honey, you need to get a Brazilian. I'm like, great, what's his name? I got a toothbrush for him. Yeah. Turns out this one's way less fun. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Brazilian is, it's like when they pour maple syrup in the snow in Tremblant and they rip it off with a popsicle stick. Only instead of syrup, picture scalding wax, and instead of snow, it's your vagina. So I'm back home recently, I make an appointment, I go in there, a little embarrassed, pay $60, because that's the going rate for genital torture, and they tell me to get completely naked, to hop up on this like metal slab, cover up a little face cloth, so I get up in my birthday suit, jump on the bed, and I think, I'm not sure this could get more awkward, right? Flash forward 15 seconds later, it gets more awkward. The door opens, and I hear this voice say, Chantal, is that you? It's the one girl I hated in high school. She now waxes for JJ's for a living. I'm a JJ. Didn't see that one coming on career day, you know. Doctor, lawyer, vaginal hair remover. Ooh, that looks good. It's like bumping into someone you never liked at the mall. You have to make small talk for a while before you can make your escape. Only in this case, you're butt naked doggy style. It's just piling hot wax on your It's tough to get out of that one. So at first it's okay. Safety towel is still in place. We're both pretending like it's not going to be the worst hour of our lives. And then she says, let's not beat around the bush. And with that, she takes off the towel, she scrunches up her face, she peers into my hot pocket, and she says, oh. If there's one thing you don't want to hear from your former nemesis staring point blank into your moneymaker, it's, ooh. And then she takes my hands and she says, I'm going to need you to hold it taut. Hold, I don't even know what taut means. Like, hold what taut, right? And she takes my hands and she puts them in places I didn't even know existed, right? On the bright side, I haven't needed to date since, which works out well when I get stood up. And just when I think it can't possibly get worse, she says, I'm going to need you to get down on your hands and knees, she says. The butt crack can be a very hairy place. And I'm like, I'm naked. There is no way I'm getting down on my hands and knees, right? And 30 seconds later, as I'm down on my hands and knees, I think, how did this happen to me? And she starts to lube up the crevice, which for the record, it wasn't that hairy, boys. Okay. I think, you know what, this isn't that bad. It's kind of like, it's kind of warm, it's kind of sticky, like it's kind of bad, it's kind of good. And then she rips the wax, and it was all bad. It was definitely, there was no good. Don't let them fool you, okay? And as the tears well up, all I can think is, when you were cheating off me in grade 10 math class, did you ever think you'd be staring into my no-no zone one day? Right? But I don't say that. I turn around and I say, well, you look good, you know? And for the first time I noticed, she's wearing like a headlamp or something, like miners wear, like to better see the hairs. This girl is Dora the Exploring my asshole. How do you respond to that? Still keep in touch with Philomena? And just when I think it can't possibly get worse, she says, I hope this isn't awkward. I'm going to need you to get down on your elbows. She says, we've got a few strays and I need a better angle. At at this point, I'm sure I must be on like candid camera asshole edition, right? So I am smiling and I am waving and I don't see a single camera. So I get down on my elbows. Then she breaks out the tweezers. Yeah, for the record, no good in the history of mankind has ever come from an ass in the air and the emergence of tweezers, okay? And as she separates the buttocks and reaches into the vortex that should be explored by no one except maybe a first date after a few tequilas, she tweezes a hair I swear started on my tonsils. Like, I felt that shit all the way down. And as the tears well up and her face hovers dangerously close to my holy land with her Dora the Explorer headlamp, all I can think is, I'm never shaving again. So this is really more of a warning to anyone out here who had thought about becoming husband number 2. It's the Jungle Book out there. So unless you want to play Mowgli, it is better for everyone if you just keep on moving. Thank you guys, you've been great.